Coming up, we're going to talk about what's been happening recently around Universal Orlando Resort on this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm your host, Craig Williams, and today I'm joined alongside by my co-host, Ryno.
Hello.
Hello, Ryno. How are you doing today?
I have a tea here, and it's making me very sweaty right now.
Ooh, sounds great. I know you're going to be sweating today because, well, we're going to talk about some spooky stuff. Obviously, it's been a while since we've done a news show. We were busy talking about the Minions. We'll probably talk about them today, too, because what is life if you're not talking about the Minions? I just don't know what it is. But yeah, so we have to catch up on HHN news, and we'll talk about a little bit more. We'll probably be just kind of a random all over the place conversation, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I hope you enjoy this ride we're going to take you on. But before we do get started on this ride, I want to remind you this is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content and you want to support us, book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you no extra money, and you get the help of an awesome Universal specific Dreams Unlimited Travel agent that knows about Universal. So it's not like they're Disney agents that have been to Universal once and they're like, yeah, I'll just try to sell it to. No, it's agents who actually go to Universal and they know the product as well too, so they can help you as much as you need. So for a free, no obligation quote, head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today. Okay, Ryno. I feel like we have to start with the news first and foremost. And I would have said a couple weeks ago that the news was Minion Land is soft opening, but we've been there. You've seen it. Well, you would have saw the Minion Cafe review last week. That was our show that we did, so you either saw it or heard about it. And you know what? We say this all the time when we're doing dining reviews. One of the issues with doing them in the moment, on the spot, is it doesn't give us enough time to like reflect on it. Like, hey, did I get sick after eating there? And that's pertinent information. Did I think about it later in the night and just decide that it wasn't quite as great as I thought it was before? Like, we miss out on that stuff when it's just right in the moment. So in terms of that dining review at Minion Cafe, do you have any takeaways? Anything you felt like was missed out on the original review that you felt later on?
I know I got a lot of questions about being like, I hope it tasted better than it looked, and I don't know if I could. The blue rice looks weird for me and stuff like that. And I would say like the blue rice, I thought back about frequently where I was like, that rice was really good. I really liked it. No, and I don't think that it was really. I didn't think back on it in a negative way at all. I feel like I stand by what I said. Where like, if the next time I'm in the park with somebody and they were like, "Oh, I want to go here," I'd be like, "I'd go back."
Yeah. One thing I did see after we released our review, I finally made some time to watch others' reviews of Minion Cafe, and I saw a lot of people praising the grilled cheese in tomato soup, the honeymoon soup that we got. And I
No.
will say a lot of other people's food that they got with that meal, it looked like their grilled cheese was better and
Oh,
just was made a lot better, but that was still such a disappointment. I still
yeah.
think it's the wrong style of a grilled cheese for that entire sandwich, but yeah, I definitely didn't get sick after that
No,
review at
I
all.
can say that
So
confidently.
I that one I am good on. And yeah, I don't know. I got excited then coming home and telling Kylie about it because I was like, yeah, it was solid. If you're gonna go eat there soon, then you should. And she ended up going to get the meatball pizza and
Oh yeah.
absolutely loved it. So I feel like that and the beef dish, like those will be my solid two go tos every single
What was
time.
the beef dish?
That was the ropa vieja.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, so I didn't really have that. I didn't have that. But I do agree. I did actually have thought back on that meatball, the pizza again, and even though, like I said in the video, it was like a nightmare. It seems like my nightmare in terms of like I don't want to get sauce on me or messy or whatever. It was pretty tasty.
Yeah. And the one thing I will say, like from the comments when I was looking back at that show, uh, a bunch of people pointed out the price of the Minion Tots because the side of the Minion Tots was
Yeah.
$5.49. And to answer a question that some people had, I can't remember. I know we addressed it sometime during other recordings, but people asked about the Minion Tots and a dairy allergy with Erica. She wanted those Minion Tots, so she took her medicine to make sure she would be able to get through it. But yeah, keep that in mind if you do have allergies. That speak to the chef if that is an option for you. Like if you're comfortable going up and asking for it, so they can take care of you. I know they recommended it to her and asked if she felt like she needed to speak to anyone, then she could go and talk to them. But it is a ripoff getting those tots because you're paying over $1 for each tot,
Yeah.
like a
There was
dollar
only
ten.
like 6 or 7, right? In
No,
the
there was
whole the
5.
side?
There was
Oh,
5.
there was only 5?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
5 tots, and
I
so for
thought that, but it wasn't my item, so I didn't wanna say it in the video, but I remember thinking it as soon as they come out, and I was like, "I think you dropped half the side somewhere." Like
no, and that's exactly why when I went that very first time, I said it in the review, I got the kids meal with it because a kids meal is $8.99, and you get the side of the tots, and it's the exact same side that you get on the side dish. So for essentially $3.50 more, you can get that peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or you can get that kids grilled cheese, and you still get the tots with it. So I'm like, for the little extra money that it costs, you might as well just do the kids meal, get the extra food, and not feel like you're getting ripped off on those tots, because that is definitely a bad deal when it comes to it. And I'm going through right now just looking at the comments from that show to make sure there wasn't any other thing that I'm missing, because I know there was a couple questions that people followed up with in there. A lot of people saying they're excited to see us review the other places, and I know we have plans on getting over to try Papa Nana and then some sweets from Bake My Day really soon. And we will also get over and do a thorough review of Freeze Ray Pops. I did get an item from Freeze Ray Pops on the very first day when it was open. I did get the Minion popsicle, which was their banana popsicle with some white chocolate on there, and I will say I found it to be very delicious. Ryno, I think you would even like it. I know you don't like banana flavor, but
Mhm.
it was not like over the top banana flavor. Like, and it was more like I hate saying it this way. It was more like a fudge sickle consistency, but it wasn't like banana fudge. It honestly, it just kind of tasted like a little vanilla with a little banana flavor to it,
See, I
just
like
lightly.
I like banana breads, I like banana st I was like I like stuff, I don't know, I just gotta be open to it. I think it's just, like, when I think of that banana flavor, I think of, like, that yellow popsicle, and I don't
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah, and that's what I think you would be.
Stereotypical popsicle, not universal popsicle, I meant, like, the kind you had when you were a kid.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I was concerned that you would be concerned it is. It's not that at all. So you do not have to be concerned about that. But yeah, so we will get over there and do a little bit more reviews with that, because also too you got to get there early in the day. Bake My Day is selling out of good treats very quickly. And then once you get into the afternoon hours, they're basically stocking it with just standard universal treats and not Minion Land specific items. Then that just that feels cheap. It's not as good. It's not what you're going there for. So oh man, it'll be tough. We'll have to get there right when it opens. And then the only other thing I want to mention with Minion Land, since I don't know where it will fit into the grand scheme of everything, but it on the outset of Minion Land as you're heading towards the Transformers meet and greet area and the Transformers gift shop. Of course, they added on the little Illumination Theater off of Illumination Avenue because that's also part of all of this area. And well, first things first, when it opened, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be an inside theater that you walk inside and it's going to be a meet and greet, kind of like some of the ones Disney has that are more intricate and indoors." And it's not. It's still an outdoor queue, and then the characters come out of the theater and kind of stand under the marquee sign. The best thing to do if you want to meet the characters, you have to get in line. But if you just want to see them, when their sets are about to start, they're going to come out of the doors and they're going to dance for about a minute. And
Yeah.
they let you kind of stand around and just watch that little show. And they'll also dance before they go back in, too. So at the beginning and start of their sets, that is the best time to see them. And I believe they're out for 20 minutes at a time. That's the best time to see them. And actually, it's a lot of fun. Not that it's not fun meeting them and getting your picture with them, but I enjoyed standing there just watching them dance. And, they've had the pigs from Sing, and Vector was out there dancing away. I haven't seen him in person yet. I've just seen videos of it. Man, that creepy guy can dance.
Oh my God. It was like people were going insane, but it was very much where I was like, this is like what the character was in that original movie. But it's just funny because he's got that lower flat tire area, and he just like, I don't know. It was funny to watch how a character can hype up a crowd, and like you get so excited for something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. I want to see the pigs though. I want to see. Uh, 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 oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I've only seen which one of the two. I think I saw Rosita, not Gunter. I don't remember which one, because on the first day they were meeting with Johnny, but then the pigs started coming out, just the two of them. Minions have been there. It's really cute, honestly. As much as I'm disappointed that you don't go inside and you have like a nice meet and greet indoors, kind of like how the DreamWorks theater was in the Barney space. I think this is fine. Like it's a cute venue to have characters come out, and unless it's raining, it's not really a big deal. But it is Florida. That happens. So Minion Land, we will continue reporting on it in the upcoming weeks, nay, say months. Right now, the only thing left to open with it technically is VillainCon Minion Blast. And right now, from what the internet is saying and from what I'm also hearing too, is that it is having some technical issues. So the ride, the attraction, shouldn't call it a ride. I mean, you are riding on a conveyor belt, but the attraction is having technical difficulties, even though it is complete in a sense. So hopefully it doesn't take that much longer before it's open and all of Minion Land can open. I'm excited. Ryno, I'm already calling it. It's opening while we're in California. So we're going to miss out on that, but
Yeah,
hey,
I was gonna
that's
say
okay.
our streak with Universal opening, announcing, doing whatever. It's like we'll have a thing, we'll talk about it, and then it's like they wait, and then they see on the calendar we have something, and then they do it right then. I'm not
Yeah.
saying we're being trolled, but it feels like we might be being trolled.
No, it for sure feels like that. I'm like, if it takes that long, I'm hoping it doesn't take that long and we hear something, by the end of July-ish. Like, that's just me not speculating and hoping based on what other people on the internet are saying as well too. Uh, I'm excited to see what they did with it. But let's move away from Minion Land and let's talk about the HHN news that we missed a couple weeks back. I mean, we didn't miss it; we knew about it, but it just, it's just our first chance to talk about it here. And that's that we finally got our second house announcement for Halloween Horror Nights. Way, way too long in between houses. Is this the third
Yeah.
one or second one? Now I
No,
feel crazy.
I think it's just the second because I think the first one is Chucky, and then this is the second,
Good point.
right?
Yes,
Unless
that's
I'm
correct.
forgetting one. Okay.
It's like I'm still in that life situation where I'm like, no, they've announced more than they have, but it's just because we waited so long for this one. But yeah, Chucky was the
Yeah,
first one
Chucky.
announced, and then after that, Last of Us finally got announced. So it has been a long time coming. So we still have 8 more houses to be revealed in the grand
The
scheme of
Last
things.
of Us is the only house announced in 2023 because
So,
Chucky was announced on the closing day
yep.
of the event in 2022, which is it. I feel like historically, in terms of like announcements, this is the longest we've maybe waited for house announcements.
Yeah, you know what? It's for us, like, obviously for us doing this job and giving this information and hoping that people book vacations through us, it's hard because there are people out there who will go to Halloween Horror Nights every single year, regardless of what the houses are. And it's just a tradition, kind of the same way it is for us as locals now. But then there's other people out there who need that extra push. And when you're waiting so long, I know for Universal the turnaround travel time isn't that long, and there's still enough time for people to say, "Oh, I heard that house. I'm going to book that vacation officially now." There's still time for that, but it's like give the more advanced information you give to people, the more time they have to figure out if it's possible to go. And this is one of those announcements. I know it's taken a long time to get there from even a legal standpoint. So I understand why it's taken so long, but I wish they would have dropped some other things that they could along the way. I mean, even like I know they wait for the end to announce original houses, but I wish they would have just dropped some originals in
Something.
between now and then, so it wasn't such a long wait. It's not necessarily what will get some people to book the vacation and actually come. It's a lot of times it's these intellectual property houses like this, but you know, you want something. You want that little bit of a teaser out there. But anyways, back to Last of Us. This house is coming to both Universal Orlando's event as well as Universal Studios Hollywood, and it is based on the post-apocalyptic PlayStation video game. And I'm saying that very clearly because obviously there's a lot of people out there who loved watching the Last of Us adaptation that HBO did. It was an incredible show. I'm not going to say which one of the two of us hasn't finished the show yet, but I loved
Hmm.
every single episode from start to finish, and I'm just anticipating more and more of it. And I have not played the game. I've been a PlayStation guy all my life, and I've just dabbled in Nintendo. And I'm gonna say it, I've never owned an Xbox, and that's probably gonna shock a lot of people out there. Ryno, who is like stuck in SNES and
Hmm.
64. I had to just convince him to get a PS5 recently.
I did have
So
a PS4 before that,
you
but
did,
that was thrust upon me as well. So
yeah. So you're not as big on consoles and stuff, but I've been a PlayStation guy literally since PlayStation 1, and it's always been my absolute favorite. Last of Us is a game I just never played. I mean, it's just celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, so I that's also lines up with around the time where I started becoming so busy with this job that I didn't have time to just sit around and play video games. So that's factored into it too. But I understand that the HBO show did a very good job of bringing it to life, and it's gotten me excited to play the game. So I will try to make an effort to play it before Halloween Horror Nights, so I really understand it. I know that would require a lot of time, and I still have stacked up the Star Wars game that released, the Jedi Survivor. I still have Hogwarts. I still have Guardians of the Galaxy that I've never played. So now I'm gonna have to add Last of Us to this too. But I
yeah,
feel like it's a rite of passage. I need
I
to.
don't know. Yeah, I've heard people talk about the game for like years and years and years. And you're right. I mean, I have all the. I've always been a Nintendo gal, and I like side scrollers. So the idea of like a more open world game was always very like. I was like, no, I'm not a gamer like that. But then I got a PlayStation 4 and I played like Spider Man and Jedi Survivor and Guardians of the Galaxy and some other games on it. And I finally was like, okay, but it has to be a very specific game, I guess, to kind of invest myself into. So I did get a PlayStation 5 because I did want to play Jedi Survivor. And then you know what? Super random, but I ran into a guy that worked for the company that make Diablo. Do you know what that game is? Diablo
Hmm.
4?
Yeah.
And he was asked me, "Oh, have you played Diablo 4?" And I was like, "No, I've heard of it, and I've heard it's great." And he pulled it out of his bag and gave it to me because he
Oh, wow.
worked for the company that like that was his job, is to promote this game or whatever. And so like I walked out in California with a copy of this game that now I was like, well, I'm gonna play that game next because I've been handed it.
Yeah.
Literally was handed to me. But I'm trying to be like, so like I think I'm also gonna maybe try to do that with The Last of Us, like be a little more open to these games where it's like maybe they're not based on pre-existing franchise and everything, but everybody says The Last of Us is just this like incredible story, whatever. I know I haven't finished the show yet, so there's even a part of me where I was like, should I try to play the game before I finish the show? I
Yeah,
don't know,
maybe.
because then the game would be more surprising.
Yeah, that is very true. And I definitely love the drama and the narrative that's going along with the show and as well the game. But for me, I I feel still scarred from when I was growing up and I would play Resident Evil 1 on
Oh, yeah,
the
scary.
original PlayStation. Like I was obsessed with that game, but it also scared the crap out of me. And it was a scary game. Resident Evil 2 was even more scary and like to the point that I couldn't finish it just cuz I would always play in my basement really late at night and I'm not talking like I'm talking I was probably too old to be terrified that zombies were going to come eat me. But you know what? It's when you're in a weird mindset and it's too late and you're sleep deprived. It doesn't matter what age you are. You get scared at that kind of stuff. And from some of the gameplay that I've seen on social media of Last of Us, I'm like, I know I would still get freaked out. I
Especially
just
playing it, like, late at night and when, like, your house is quiet, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, that's the part where I'm, like, kinda nervous because, like, I not to be like a wimp, but when I was reading I remember reading, like, the last 2 Harry Potter books, and I still lived in Massachusetts, and I would read them until it got dark outside like, on our porch because they came out in the summer and stuff, and being like, "Okay, there's enough noises coming out of the woods now that I need to go back inside," and I'm like, "If I was getting spooked during the Harry Potter 7, I can't imagine playing a video game in Florida where mushrooms you will literally go to bed one night, wake up tomorrow, and the entire like grass wherever you are is covered in mushrooms. I'm not sure that I could handle it.
Well, I'm going to choose to not respond to the first part of that and say, yes, mushrooms are a problem in Florida. So uh, let's read the description that Universal put out for it. And they said, set in a ravaged civilization where infected and hardened survivors run rampant, Naughty Dog and PlayStation's The Last of Us video game, which celebrates its 10th anniversary this year, has captivated audiences since its release. And now guests can immerse themselves in a real life experience that puts them directly into the game's frightening world. The Last of Us haunted houses on both coasts will propel guests into a world of carnage and mayhem as they follow in the footsteps of the game's protagonists, Joel and Ellie, who endure a brutal journey in a world overtaken by fungal virus that turns humans into various forms of a new threat known as the infected. As guests encounter the infected, runners, stalkers, and clickers, along with the hunters, a band of hostile humans, they will need to navigate the Pittsburgh quarantine zone, including iconic locations from the video game, such as the creepy and desolate The Hotel Grand and a labyrinth of dark and dank tunnels in a desperate attempt to escape and survive. So, I mean, I guess this is technically similar to how I escaped Pennsylvania. I had to get
I
out of the Pittsburgh quarantine zone and I made it to Florida, my
but I
sanctuary.
thought it was Boston on the show, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if in the game if it originally was Pittsburgh. If it is, that makes me want to play it so much
Yeah,
more.
you have to.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I even missed this the first time I read the press release because I'm like, ooh, Pittsburgh. I love my
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. So it's my home city. I gotta love it. But yeah, so I'm very, very excited for it. And hopefully it won't be too long before we get another house announcement because, again, Halloween Horror Nights kicks off Friday, September 1st at Universal Orlando and Universal Studios Hollywood on Thursday, September 7th. And yes, I know there's rumors that have been flying around recently about other houses. I know Universal News Today, part of WDW News Today, posted a couple. And the one that has me interested in it that I've heard extra rumblings about too is a Dueling Dragons themed house. That would be,
Mm.
one of the original houses. I immediately my mind goes with that is, okay, would that be the return of puppetry as part of
Yeah.
HHN house? Because how else do you do dragons well? I mean, obviously you have like, you have medieval characters that are, you know, being fighting the dragons, ravaging, coming after you. Hopefully Merlin will be part of it as well too, and but you need the dragons involved. So I feel like I could kind of see this happening. And like I could see how it could be translated into a house. And then also like it would be given some love to Universal too, which that's fan service that always bodes well with the community in that way. So Ryno, would you be up for it, or would you be like, nope, Dueling Dragons? No, I'm a Dragon Challenge guy forever and ever.
Dragon Challenge. Yeah, okay. I was like, for a second, I was like, what? And then I forgot it was like rethemed for Harry Potter, and now it's not there anymore at all. But yeah, no, for sure. I can see it. I feel like when they said it, I was like, okay, I can imagine there's like two tribes that like worship each dragon, and they're like crazy. Like I can see like that smell of like charcoal or the burning when you go into the house, and like all maybe there's people wearing like dragon scale armor and everybody's like screaming and things like that, and then it ends with like a big double-sided scare where it's like two puppeted dragon heads or something like that, and hints of the dragon as you go through, and it's like the big reveal at the end. Because I feel like historically in the last couple of years, I mean, there's been a house that has a giant thing in it, right? Because Beetlejuice had the
Yeah,
sandworm. The killer clowns from outer space had the giant clown. The Stranger Things had the
Clownzilla.
the thing in the mall. And
Yeah.
yeah, so like we've had those like big monster scares at the end, so this would be kind of a continuation of that.
Yeah, if it was done that way. And Ryno, I feel like you gave them too many good ideas. So I'm going to
Now
ask
they won't
you
do it.
to back off a little bit on that. I'm not saying that aggressively. I'm just saying we're at the point in our lives now where we got to start getting paid for our ideas. If, maybe they already were coming up with it on their own, but I don't want to take the chance on there. So it's
Yeah.
no free ideas in life. That's what I say. But the only other thing I really have to talk about is did you, I don't think you've been yet, but I know you've seen at least the new theme of the All Hallows Eve boutique in the Lost Continent.
Yes, I haven't seen it in person, but I did see the reel that you made, and I was like, oh, the theming looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. So they rethemed it for the summer to Monstergram Picture Studios, and it is the same store that it always is, but now some of the props in there are just they're themed around making a movie. So like Frankenstein is clearly the director, and then the bride is kind of like an assistant, I guess, because she's just holding a clipboard. Not super well done. But then you have the mummy who's like a gopher because he's holding a tray of coffee for all of the monsters. But then they put a nice little touch in there too. They put one of the coffee cups says B. Fraser on it. So this mummy did make sure that Brendan Fraser got his cup of coffee.
I do love that.
They
Yeah.
What's that?
That's a nice touch. I really liked that a lot.
Yeah, that was a really good touch. Then in that first entrance area, they have some of the directors' seats, directors' chairs for the different monsters. The mummy, the creature, Wolfman, each have their little chair that is themed and looks like theirs. They have posters and pictures that were definitely lining the walls of the old Universal Orlando's Classic Monsters Cafe, Universal Studios Classic Monsters Cafe, which it's kind of cool to see props like that being reused. My favorite part is once you get a little bit deeper into that second uh, part of the store where the cash registers are, and it opens up. You find out that apparently Dracula is running the boom mic as the sound guy. The creature is running the camera, so he's the director of photography, I guess. And there's this like crazy little backdrop that looks like something straight out of Plan 9 from outer space, with these UFOs that are bobbing up and down. A cute little photo op. And then all the way in the back, you find out that the Wolfman is apparently the editor, as he is cutting up some of the film. And then there's all these tentacles that are coming out of a tank, and the tentacles are the makeup person and helping with props. Just a super, super cool little update to this store that, just keeps it fresh. I wish the merchandise was fresher, and as Halloween season approaches, they will add more merchandise in. Like when The Last of Us was announced, they put that merchandise in there. So it will continually get updated, but I'm ready to see new stuff, because it feels like the Halloween style merch they've been pushing has been there for way too long now. It needs something new to keep me going into the store. The new themes get me in there, but only like once. I need to see new merchandise in there beyond that. And then the only other thing I would mention with stores is they put up the signage for the new Universe store. Ryno and I recorded a lost episode of the show where we talked about it, not in depth, but slightly in depth, that in the Jurassic Park tribute store. But the audio didn't record with it, so it was lost forever in history. But now that the signage is up for the Universe store, it is now, I guess, officially declared as open, even though it's been open for a while. And the merchandise inside is kind of high-end merchandise. It's still t-shirts and such. It's just more expensive than the average t-shirt, and features, a little bit like, I want to say like designer style t-shirts
Yeah.
of Universal properties, as well as like Felix the cat is a big staple of it for some reason. But ET merchandise, classic monster merchandise, Jaws merchandise. I went through the store and looked at everything, and I was like, I could see myself like buying one of the monsters things, but I also probably won't get anything from there ever. It's just not.
Well,
It's not my style, I should say.
the pricing is like a lot higher because it's like I think you're right. Like it's marketed as that sort of that designer theme park stuff. I went to the one in Hollywood because they have one out there too now, and I was like, it was same stuff as the one here, I think, but
Yeah.
there's like a Jurassic Park, like a green, like zip, like a pullover sort of rain jacket thing, that has like a cool like orange design on the back. That one I liked a lot, but it's like $125, and I was like, mama, no.
Yeah, but well, I guess it's hard to say because I know we talked about it in the Lost episode that we had, but the merchandise in general, like in the Jurassic Park tribute store, also felt like it went up drastically. For some of
You
like
mean
the new items, like
Jurassically? Do you mean
drastically, yeah.
Jurassically? Boom.
Ryno, you know
Okay,
what?
there you go.
I'll say the one problem with that is that joke came towards the end of the episode when no one's watching anymore.
Yeah.
You gotta put a beauty like that in the beginning, because like when I made that "you bet Jurassic" joke
Yeah.
at the start of our dining one, a lot of people love that. So save that Jurassically for another Jurassic themed episode, and the people, they're gonna love you. They're gonna adore you.
I'm trying to think of another one right now, but I can't. Sorry.
It's okay. Again, don't bury it in the end of an episode like this. But I will say, from the press release that they sent out, like they specifically say tapping into entertainment and fashion tastemakers through their style-driven offerings, merchandise at Universe marries popular designs with current fashion silhouettes and trending styles driven by favorite characters and iconic on-screen moments. Exclusive merchandise will be released in limited quantities, from tees to jackets, tracksuits and skirts to tote bags and hats. Products will range in price from $30 to $150. And then a big deal with this, in size from extra small to 2XL across men's, women's, and unisex categories. I have not tried any of these on, but I will say say, there are some times with when you get limited edition items where the sizing is definitely off, where it's like an extra large would actually fit like a regular unisex large shirt. So that has me worried that they're kind of saying like, oh, this is for smaller people. We're not interested in selling this stuff to people who are of a bigger size. And I don't like that because, leaving people out of it is not universal. I think
I've
that's fair
got
to say.
those. I've got those honkers, so I need a bigger size shirt. That was keeping it in theme with Seuss Landing, just so we're all clear.
That it absolutely was, Ryno. So I appreciate you for it. But that store is open, and if you're looking for it, it is basically when you're entering Universal Studios Florida, it is sandwiched in between what used to be the Betty Boop store and then the Hello Kitty store. So it's to the left of Hello Kitty. It is directly across the street from Today Cafe. It's it's all a part of that big store that's right across the street from the Universal Studio store and just before you get into Minion Land and the attractions of Minion Land. So check it out if you're interested in it. I'd recommend walking in to see if it's your cup of tea. Buy something. If not, don't. And honestly, it's also probably all in shop.universalorlando.com too. So might be able to find that stuff there. But ultimately, Ryno, I have nothing else to say about Universal right now. So, do you?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
said no, I don't have another
made
one.
your piece.
I thought I had
It's
another one.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You made your piece. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. So I do hope you enjoyed it. We obviously appreciate you taking the time to listen and watch it. We couldn't do this without you. So thank you very much. And if you do want to support us more, you can always book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Get a free no obligation quote today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. If you want to support us beyond that, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave comments, questions, video suggestions in the comment section. If you're listen to this podcast, make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if it's possible to leave a rating and review, please take the time to do so. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. Ryno, thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Oh, you bet Jurassic it was a good conversation. Yeah, I stole your joke,
Stealing it. And thank you, everyone out there, for taking the time to listen and watch this. Again, we really do appreciate it. And we'll see you again real soon with another episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. But until then, remember, we still haven't changed the name.